Despite what you may have heard from Al Gore, driving your SUV is not going to contribute to the destruction of planet Earth. In fact, global warming is not the fault of you or your SUV, but rather climate change is part of a natural process. To convince you of this fact, I will first explain how the Earth's temperature is a natural phenomenon. Then I will show you how the science of global warming alarmists is flawed. Finally, I will propose a different motive for those who seem to be fighting on behalf of planet Earth, one where the environment is not the primary concern. All told, there are many things to consider about climate change, so let's get started. The Earth's temperature has always been in flux, and its change is natural. Just look at the Ice Age as an example of a historical moment where the Earth's temperature went through a drastic shift. For something more recent, look at the Great Depression in the 1930s and the great dust bowls that swept away topsoil in Oklahoma, Texas, and various other parts of the nation. If these historical events are not enough to convince you about the natural changes in temperature our planet goes through, then here's some scientific research. Kirk A. Maish from PBS says the following: during the past billion years, the Earth's climate has fluctuated between warm periods, sometimes even completely ice-free, and cold periods when glaciers scour the continents. The cold periods, or ice ages, are times when the entire Earth experiences notably colder climatic conditions. During an ice age, the polar regions are cold. There are large differences in temperature from the equator to the pole, and large continental-sized glaciers can cover enormous regions of the Earth. Further on in this article, he notes that it is impossible to know the exact cause, and things such as solar activity and the Earth's position relevant to the sun can matter. According to a website, skepticalscience.com, every 120,000 years or so, the Earth experiences ice cycles when ice glaciers melt and CO2 gas is released. According to another website I found, there are also significant climate changes between the year 1200 and 2000. This is something that global warming alarmists seem to ignore. But don't take my word for it, let's see what other scientists have to say. Al Gore and others who promote the notion that we are destroying the planet by our activities focus on flawed science that is too narrow and leaves out too many factors. The founder of the Weather Channel said he read thousands of global warming studies and that they are faulty because their whole case is based on an increase in carbon dioxide. He went on to say that carbon dioxide is normal. It's something that we breathe, it's something the oceans absorb, and it's something that is released back into the air. Coleman notes that Al Gore was influenced by a Harvard professor who studied CO2. But this Harvard professor has since said that carbon dioxide is not a threat. Coleman said if this wasn't so serious, it would be laughable. Since this is such a controversial topic, I will present further evidence that contradicts the claims of alarmists like Al Gore. A GOP website says the following: Nobel Prize winner for physics, Ivar Giver, states, "I am a skeptic. Global warming has become a new religion." Atmospheric scientist Dr. Joni Simpson, formerly of NASA and author of 190 research studies, noted, "Since I am no longer affiliated with any organization nor receiving any funding, I can speak quite frankly. As a scientist, I remain skeptical." Dr. Kiminori Ito said, "Warming fears are the worst scientific scandal in the history. When people come to know what the truth is, they will feel deceived by science and scientists." Victor Manuel Velasco Herrera also had some strong reactions. He said, "The models and forecasts of the UN IPCC are incorrect because they are only based on mathematical models and presented results of scenarios that do not include, for example, solar activity." There are many other researchers I could quote from this website, but I simply don't have enough time. If there is such a dispute over whether global warming exists, what then is the motive for promoting it as fact? Global warming alarmists have a much more personal motive than simply protecting the Earth. Many of the scientists who support global warming receive funding to find support for global warming, meaning they have a vested interest in finding global warming. The Senate website I mentioned a little while ago notes that award-winning paleontologist Dr. Eduardo Toni claimed that the global warming scaremongering has its justification in the fact that it is something that generates funds. John Coleman stated that the researchers find global warming so they can get more research money. He also said that scientists make a living off of this activity, have groupthink, and evaluate and approve each other's work, making it self-replicating research. You should wonder about people who get financial benefits for their research findings. The motives of global warming alarmists are not pure, and neither is their science, so why should we take what they have to say as fact? There really isn't a reason to. So, in conclusion, those are my main points, and that's it. Thank you.